We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 1968, and today we are talking about the difference between a side hustle and your career in land investment, and then a little later we're going to talk about how to hire and train a transition coordinator who can also effectively answer the phones. Both of these topics were requested pretty seriously in Discord.
Well, I was going to say too, I think we've been doing so much transition in our office. I think you said transition coordinator instead of transaction coordinator. So let me just clarify that too, because you know what? There's a time for both.
Yeah.
Right now in our companies, Jack is the transition coordinator.
That's true.
Which is you over there, we may not have a home for, and you're in, kind of thing. That's the transition coordinator.
When are we not going through a transition?
Oh,
That's my question.
Gosh, I know. Even between us, it's a constant transition.
You know, like when you're younger,
Yeah.
you say, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. This is what men do.
Oh.
And this is going to happen, and by the time I'm 28, this is going to happen, and then pretty much by the time I'm 32, 34 years old, it's over. All the transitioning's over. Everything's kind of locked in. It's on autopilot, and we're good. And that just never happens.
Oh, that's not what women do. So, you know, this is actually probably not bad then. We're never disappointed. So if you had all those things... hold on a moment. Well, just hold on a second, though.
Women are never disappointed. That's
Not
the
with
show.
that.
That's the show for next week.
Not with that stuff. No, but I mean, you have your plan, and you said it never goes like that. But so here's the beauty of it for us. We have simple goals, but we don't have like a timeline plan like that. So it's easier to not be disappointed. However, we do have a thing called a biological clock, and that does kick in sometimes, and nobody knows, and that's one of the hard parts for women. It's like bursting out in tears when you're reading Hallmark cards. You don't know when it's coming.
See, to me, those two things lead to disappointment. A biological clock and a Hallmark cards lead to disappointment, not positive stuff.
No, it's okay. Depends on when you're buying a Hallmark card. Maybe it's for your best friend saying congratulations on your divorce. Just kidding.
That isn't negative.
I know.
Each week on the show, we answer questions from our Land Academy member Discord forum, review land acquisitions from our weekly member webinars, and take a deep dive into 2 land-related topics by popular request. If you want a sneak peek of our Discord forum, go to landacademy.com. It's free. I think it's under the Tools tab.
I meant to say congratulations on your baby. I didn't mean to go negative. So, yeah. Okay. So, and by the way, too, if you want us to answer your questions, or you just, right here on this show, or you need some help getting involved, don't forget, you can just text my team. It's 480-530-7383. They are read. You will get a response. Thanks. So, Austin wrote, here is a blow-by-blow update.
I put 1 second. I just set this up. If you haven't sent a mailer out, this is exactly what you can expect to happen. Okay. I actually love this entry in Discord.
Oh, good. Okay, so mailer number 1, which was 4,000 units, sent on August 1st. And we're on day 3 of having the mail hit the mailboxes.
About 2 weeks later.
Perfect. 11 hate calls in. Of the 11, 7 or so have said, went from degrees of anger to is your head screwed on straight, to value the service you're providing, and we'll hang on to your letter when it's time to sell. Oh, I see. So we have different anger, like are you nuts, to I don't know, but I'll hang on to it kind of thing. Credits to Jill and Jack's de-escalation techniques and friendly, respectful, sir, ma'am, Mr., Mrs. in our responses. That makes a difference.
Way to go, adjusting to your inbound sellers.
And calming them down.
Yep.
So one caller today has 3 properties to sell and wants to talk to his wife and get back to us tomorrow. It's probably a $60,000 to $90,000 acquisition. We'll keep you all apprised. Comments and feedback are welcome on point in time progress. And then came back, assessed on August 15th. Where would you all recommend I go for a strong, near complete template operating agreement for a land investing LLC? Articles of formation are done. We're a single member LLC. I'm guessing operating. Oh, I'm just guessing for title work. They just need an operating agreement.
What happened is he sent a mailer out, a
Yep.
4,000 unit mailer out. 2
Great.
weeks later, calls started coming in. He got a bunch of hate. This is a template, what you can expect. Bunch of hate. And then one person says, several people say, I'm not sure I'm ready to sell now, but possibly in the end. So you can see how the multiple mailers build over time. And then one person says, yeah, I've got 3 properties and I'm pretty
just talked
interested
to
in
my
selling.
wife.
And then what I meant to say here, and I drew it 15 days later from this entry,
Oh, okay.
he's asking for an LLC operating agreement because he's getting funding to buy these properties.
Moving
That's
forward.
what's happening.
Yay.
And so I think I put this entry in here to give everybody a very, very straightforward, honest, and accurate expectation for what happens with a mailer. Some people who have a sales background and who have kind of a numbers background, like Jill and I have, respectively, are elated with these results. I sent out 4,000. I got, by the time the mailer's over, he's going to buy several properties, maybe, let's just say 3 to 5. He's going to get a lot more hate, and he's going to get a lot of people that are going to hang it on the refrigerator and think about it.
Well, even day
Those are
3.
amazing
Day
results.
3.
Amazing results for any marketing campaign. What matters is he buys one great property and makes 50 to 80 to $100,000.
Right. Then it pays for the dumb mailer, and then everything else is gravy.
If you're not numbers oriented, I put this in here so maybe you can start thinking this way, because if you're just going to focus on those 11 hate calls and not the actual property that you're going to buy and make a ton of money on,
Right.
that's maybe not the best approach.
Understood.
Congratulations. This is good.
Yay.
He's a new member. He's been very vocal, and we appreciate your participation.
Yeah.
Today's first topic is the difference between a side hustle and your career in land investment. Which one is it for you, Jill? Are you still
Oh,
side
100% side hustle. This is a total side hustle to my life, which is goofing off with you. Does that count?
Yes.
Okay.
Mission accomplished there, too.
It wasn't always that way.
We're in Livingston, Montana right now.
Just north of Yellowstone National Park. We have been loving this area and driving all around. Not appreciating the heat right now. Anyone in Montana, here, where are we? The middle of August that we're recording this. That it's a little warm, but it's awesome and beautiful, and it's just so great. So you know what's interesting? May I start?
Sure.
Okay. So I see this as a progression for a lot of people, and since you asked me that question, this inspired this response and this thought, which is this could very easily start out as something you do on a side while you have a W-2 job, because you're being smart about this and you want to get it up and rolling. You want to get some money in the bank. You want to work out the kinks. Yeah, so what? You don't have a lot of free time. Big deal. You're working on building this company on the side, because then this could become your career, right? Then you get to someday, a lot of people, this is their goal, to ditch whatever they were doing, make this their career, and then they can, they kind of get their lives back. Your time is what you want it to be. You do deals when you want to do the deals. You do deals, however bigger, how smaller, how many you want to do in a week or a month. Dream it up. You work as hard as you want to work and make as much money as you want to make. Then, this is the kicker I hadn't thought about till you just asked me that question. This could become, then you could really, scale it back down. What if you I don't want to work. I made so much money, you guys. This is happening, and now I want to just spend time with X and do whatever. So I'm going to kind of dial it back a little bit it's still my business and still my main income, but I'm not working as hard as I wanted to because I'm spending my time with my family, my grandkids, my RV trip, whatever it is. So I
think it always should start as a side hustle. Always. I'll give you my personal anecdote or story here. I started buying and selling land or investing in real estate in some way in around 1995, early 95, and continued to do that casually until about 2000, when I did a deal as a side hustle, let's call it. I don't like the word side hustle, but everybody understands what it is, so we'll just call it a side hustle. It was a side business is what it is. It gives it a little bit more seriousness. Yeah, it's a side business now, but it's going to be my primary business. That should be your intent. Or, kudos for having a side business. Geez, that's how you get out of the doldrum of the W-2. So I think you're either going to succeed at this or succeed at some other side business until it's your main business and you live happily ever after. But anyway, from around 95 to around 2000, I always had a pretty good W-2 job, and I would do the stuff on the weekends or at night. And I did an amazing deal which netted over $1 million, and that's when I walked in and said, it's
bye-bye.
And so my side hustle became my career in land, and I would really encourage you to look at it that way and ask yourself, yeah, I love that land investment, or I don't. Maybe I'll try something else if it's not working out. If the land investment thing's working out, just put the pedal down to the floor, the gas pedal.
It's not for everyone.
I also have to tell you, this is a very personal note. I've picked up the guitar for probably the 19th time in my life, and
I'm
this
so
time
proud of you.
I'm convinced this time is I'm going to actually learn how to play, but this time what's different is the availability of what's on the internet and learning is different from the last time I did it. So I'm taking lessons online, just on YouTube. I'm not even paying for it, and giving myself a practice schedule, putting it in a calendar, and on and on and on. And I was thinking the other day, like, because this is kind of new for me.
It's important to you now.
Well, or is it new? So I played in band in high school, so did Jill. I played the piano casually my entire life. I can generally read music and count and all that stuff. Not very well, but I'm aware of it. Let's just say that. I'm aware that what music is and how it works. And so I'm going through this, and I'm thinking to myself, what if I was new at land, trying to learn it, and what am I bringing to the table? Well, this new guitar endeavor, I'm bringing to the table a general understanding of how music works. I'm not starting from a cold start. So if you have some type of experience, professional experience that lends itself so that you're not starting from a cold start, it's huge. It doesn't feel that way when it's happening. It doesn't feel like the worst guitarist that there ever was, which I'm probably close to that person. But honestly, I'm not starting cold. So I know what I'm getting myself into. My point is, I hope that you've got some type of experience you can bring to the table and not start cold. And if you do, you're at a good advantage.
Well, what if you don't?
Then you're going to have to work harder.
That's okay.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah. You may have to spend a little more time doing some more, research and recon before you dive in. So what? Follow this podcast for a year if it takes that long for you to really feel comfortable and understand it. Follow our community, ask questions, watch all our videos, and watch other people's videos. There's so much great stuff out there. Really try to understand what a deed is, the technical terms, all that good stuff. And like you said, you'll have to work a little harder. I want to add one more thing on the guitar thing, which is this is really important. I'm glad that you're doing this, and I think it's because it's important to you now. And so I was going to offer that I will try to learn to sing.
You know what? Talk about a cold start.
I don't think there's any saving my singing voice, which has never existed. So we'll just leave it at that. But
Jill has many talents in singing and dancing, and especially singing and dancing at the same time.
Hold on.
Just doesn't fall into that category.
Now hold on a moment. I don't think I suck at dancing as bad as I suck at singing. So give me a break there. So I might, maybe, you know what? I might take some Western dancing. That is what I would like to do. I would like to learn to two-step and do some other things. I think that would be really cool. Did we finish this topic sufficiently?
I think so.
Okay. Everybody understands side hustle and your career in land.
Side
hey, you know what?
Leads to your career.
Well, you know what I'm going to say too? I want to make this I need to hit this home. when you're starting out like this is not going to be a 5-hour-a-week side hustle. I want you to know, you need to really decide if you're going to do this, because if you're going to do it and do it right, and you want this to be your career, you're pretty much going to give up other stuff in your life. It might be some trips that don't happen because some weekends your heads are down learning this stuff, so, but you can do that. We have many successful people that have come from really intense PhD, like really they have PhDs and they have careers that require PhDs who said, I don't want to do this anymore. And so they probably work 60 or so hours a week. And then they started this on the side. So what does that mean? They're up at 4 a.m. and this is what their weekends are. But it's not like that forever. So I want you to know this is not just a skip along the top side hustle. Oh, I'm just going to learn it and they're going to hold my hand. No, there's stuff you got to do. You're going to have to pick your own counties. You're going to have to get the mail out. You're going to have to answer the phone. But you know what? You got us right here. We will show you what to do. And you can get there.
Well said.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
Would you do this deal? Rusk County, Texas. Accepted offer price. Where are we? $10,000. I think we can sell it for 45. I think this is very low and conservative. I like that. So then we have access on Main Street, 10.37 acres. Adjacent, not really. It's rural. The neighbor has the easement for a road through the whole property. How does this affect your value? On Google Earth, it looks like it's in a slopey area. I think I got a decent amount of acreage cheap, and it would be hard to lose. Okay.
I see an easement through the whole northern part of the property. That's no big deal.
Because it's 10 acres.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Owned it since 89. I'm curious. Thank you.
Well, we're batting 500 right now.
I
See
know.
if we can keep that going, because 10 grand is nothing for 10 acres anywhere in Texas.
I don't know where Tatum is.
It's way, way, way east. Look, it's right here.
Oh.
Dallas, Austin, Midland.
Okay. Got it. Longview. Got it. Oh, they live in Longview too. So then that's interesting.
Every single one of these properties, regardless of, I love saying this, every single one of these properties, regardless of size or location, and the zip code is almost half of your purchase price for 10 acres.
I don't like the DOM.
One property is sold. So this is very rural with no data at all. It's good houses.
I still don't like the days on market.
Houses 250, start at 250 in the zip code. That's good. And we don't know. In Texas, you're gonna have to dig down and find out what these sold for, like this.
You get a good, if you go down to the home details, it'll give you a good indication. Home details.
250, 260. I'm glad you like the details.
Click on the home details and it'll show you how listed, sometimes pending. You can see sold and it won't give you a number. You got a good idea how quickly it went pending and sold if they got that number.
So this is good dirt. The easement doesn't scare me at all. This is what he means by easement. They're just driving over your property to get to their house here. There's a ton of other property to work with. That sort of passes the adjacent test, sort of. I'd like to see a lot more development here, but I love the dirt.
I like it. I'm down.
Write a $10,000 check, put a sign out here, get a listing maybe, or put a sign. That's the good. I wish I could see it. You get a sign on it and sell it for 20,
10
maybe
acres
30.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I would do the deal.
Jill, do you have exciting news about Career Path?
Oh, I do. And even Land Academy. There is, I don't know if it's happening today, but right about now, there's going to be a big announcement for some special stuff happening for people who want to join Land Academy. So check it out.
Good.
Go to our Facebook page, go to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Dream It Up. There's probably some stuff on there to point you in the right direction for a live announcement. So check out landacademy.com. And then, of course, depending who you are and where you are in your career at this point, Career Path still has seats open. Career Path is our highest level kind of mastermind coaching program. It's 8 weeks long. We take 15 to 20 people in a class. I have 2 classes going on this fall. They start at the end of September. And again, go to landacademy.com and under resources, join one of the 2. You'll find it. Look for Career Path. It's awesome.
Instead of taking a question from our Discord channel like we always do on the show, I have something different that I think you might enjoy, listener. I'm going to ask Jill some questions. because Jill and I are, celebrating, I think it's 14 years working together.
2009. Sorry, 2009.
Yeah, 14 or 15 years, coming on 15. So, you know, and I've been thinking, because we have a really good crew, both vendors right now in Land Academy, and a fantastic transaction coordinator, and just generally a great group of people in Land Academy. It's taken a lot of years. We started Land Academy in 2015.
Right.
And what I've really been thinking about is the synergy and the synergistic relationships and working relationships that we all kind of have together, and how many people that didn't work with in the beginning to get to having these synergies. And then it's like, when you get to this synergistic relationship that Jill and I have, there's been many business partners that I've had before this, and Jill's been in a lot of different professional and social roles also. So I guess my big question is to you: how do you achieve that? How do you achieve ultimately? The root of my question is, I really believe most people don't ever get here at all, socially and professionally, because
with a partner,
they get comfortable in a situation that's mediocre and don't strive to get into a situation where there's true synergistic energy.
With you and me?
So what do you do? What would your advice be for people who are younger and maybe new at this, who don't even know that they need to have some type of synergistic relationship from a partnership standpoint or a vendor standpoint? When I say vendors, I mean like a vendor. A great example for us is a great real estate agent who can liquidate property and understands you. So what would your advice be to people who are trying to achieve that, or what would you say?
Couple things. Figure out how they communicate. Like, I'm thinking, I love your third party, like a real estate agent, like I'm using them. Do we connect? Are we on the same page, and do we want the same goals? And that sentence applies to you and me, and it applies to me and real estate agent, fill in the blank, county,
and
kind of thing.
Employees and everything.
Yeah, and employees. Do we all have the same goals? That's huge. And then finding out how they communicate, and then trying to, as best I can, communicate with them and how they need me to communicate. It doesn't do any good for me to dig my heels in and say they need to read my mind. They need to understand what I mean and just do it my way. Nah, it's not going to really get to the same goal. Because if you both are doing that, if you're both trying to, I'm trying to understand them and they're trying to understand me, and we're trying to each meet in the middle, then you're going to win. It's awesome. The other thing is, sit back, trust them to do their job and stay out of their way, and give them some time to do their job. Set some fair goals and achievements. Like, again, back to a broker that I might be working with. I want to, when's the listing going to be up, and did the photos come out good, and that kind of a thing. Let them go off and do it. I don't need to nitpick them and say, I'm going to pick the lead photo, I'm going to pick the whatever. That's stupid, and it's a waste of my time. What do I have them for? If I'm doing that much work, yeah.
Boy, I think you nailed it, and that's what I was hoping you would say. Is same goals.
Yeah.
So if you have an employee that, employees take a job or seek a job for all kinds of different reasons. It doesn't make, you would think it's just they need a paycheck. That's really just not the case. If you read surveys on how to have employees and keep employees happy, money is like never even in the top
Usually
three
not.
things. So there's I've had 1 million employees in I've had a lot of employees. And some of them come in and they just set up shop, and you can watch them literally do it. Like, they bring in their coffee cup, they get their desk, they set it all up, That's not the same goal that I have. The goal that I have is month over month doing better. So next month we're to do better than this month, and this month is better than last month. And hey, employee X, I need your help. So now we have the same goals. If they're like, "Why, are you kidding? How can I help?" I know you hired me over here to do this thing, but I've had some experience doing this other thing, and it looks like how you guys are doing it, maybe that's not the best way. Or maybe just, why don't you let me get a crack at it and see now we have the same goal. And I think that happens in a marriage and in all kinds of stuff. Where are we all going down the same path here together? Or are we staying in each other's way? And way more often than not, it's the latter. And I
Getting
think
each other's way.
Yep.
Oh.
And I think that you need, it's very important for you to be
happens.
successful in life, which is probably why you're listening to this. You want to, there's a point in every relationship, professionally or socially, where you say, I'm no longer going to work on this. Dumping the baby with the bathwater, and I'm going to start again. And it's very, very hard to decide where that line is.
Yeah, that's not necessarily.
All the positive stuff you say on the show, I just counteract.
I know that. That's right. I'm trying to figure out how to save this right now, and you went down this path, and I'm like, I don't know if I can recover from this one. This is awesome. Whew, I forgot. That's my final one. Save them. Save them from themselves sometimes. They might be throwing out some things that are really important. Like,
That's possible.
like me.
Oh, no. I've been thrown out way more than I've done the throwing out. Trust me.
That's awesome. Oh, boy. Whew, thanks. Good chat.
Today's second topic is how to hire and train a transaction coordinator who can also effectively answer the phones.
Well, I have done this.
I know. That's why. That's why I put this in here. I figure, you're generally qualified to answer these questions and talk about this.
I know how to do
stuff.
these. Yeah, I'll tell you one. Well, here's what's funny. The minute you post an ad. So let me back up. What's a transaction coordinator? Okay. You're cruising along. Your side hustle is now your real full-time business. And guess what? Now you're getting busy. And the minutia of babysitting title agents and making sure this got posted and wiring money and, they need a copy of my organization articles, because I have a new agent in this area. They need this stuff. Fill in the blank. It just gets to be too much. You're like, it's slowing me down. It's keeping me from making money, which I should just be sending out the mail and getting the deals, moving through those deals. I don't need to be doing the paperwork part. That's where a transaction coordinator comes in, and they will organize it all. They take all of that off your plates. So, where do you find them? Well, the first place is, all right, I'm going to go out and hire one, right? And I'll tell you right now, the minute you put wanted, are looking for hiring land, real estate, transaction coordinator, here come 18,000 real estate agents.
Failed real estate agents.
That's the other thing. Because if they were really doing well, really busy, they have their own transaction coordinators. They're not applying for your job. So it's really interesting. I think they just see real estate and then they just glom onto that. Or they think that I know how to book deals through the system, which I understand. That was, they've done deals and they followed them through the system, which really does make sense. I mean, all of it does make sense. You're like, what are you talking about, Jill? It sounds like they know how to do this stuff. Why would they make a good transaction coordinator? I haven't figured that out. There's some disconnect. Do you know what the disconnect is? And they've never done the transaction coordinator, but they've only been an agent. They will come find you.
I have just probably incorrectly assumed that within the last several years, there's some ideology out there about applying for every single job that's got keywords in it. Maybe it's even
that could be
software.
Oh, that could be.
And so I don't think that there's a person on the other end of your job posting that's looking through 60 job postings and saying, I might be good at this one. I might be good at this one.
Well,
there could be. It's a numbers game. So you're going to look at probably 30, 40, 80 people, and one or two
more.
Potentially get to the second round.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so just
That's
saying,
what we're here to.
That could be. We're here to discuss it.
We're all hoping that you're going to solve this for us.
Well, I will solve it. So what's interesting is, but I've got on the phone with those people, honestly, and here's the general consensus. They're like, I've been a real estate agent, and I'm tired of these investors making all this money. So I need to get going down that path of being an investor myself. And then I saw you guys. This is what happens to me. Then I saw you guys, and you're a land academy, so I'm going to come in and learn from you. But there's still a disconnect. I haven't figured that out yet. So, I guess I have. They just don't have it in them sometimes. So fast forward, we're going to push that point aside here. So who do you hire? Okay, Jill, I got that part. You know what you really want? You want a really organized, detailed person whom, in a perfect world, has prior escrow experience and can speak the language of many different kinds of people, if you will. Very, very good communication skills. That's what I have. What's really interesting is my number one primary transaction coordinator is also a licensed agent / however, this is what she loves. She did this forever. She became, and she's just so flipping good at it. She likes having 80 deals at a time on her plate. That's her happy place. So that's what I'm saying.
She has the same goals as Jill.
Yeah. She calls me when she's bored. Like, I need more deals. I don't know what to do. She's like looking for stuff to do. She goes digging. This is the best part. When you find the right person, they're going to go digging and go, do you know you still own that property? I just got a tax bill for it. It slipped through the cracks. Like, yes, thank you. You want me to get it posted for you and find an agent? Yeah, that's the right transaction coordinator.
I agree.
So we got that. So that's who you're looking for, right? And you need to have these hard conversations with them. You need to ask a lot of questions, and don't be afraid to put them through some tests, like make sure they can handle Excel, make sure whatever your CRM is going to be there using, I use Airtable. Make sure they can handle that stuff. You know, they don't have to be a pro coming into it, but they need to be able to understand it. There's if they're an older escrow agent, which is great, some of them might have a transition from paperwork to that. So I, again, am very, very, very fortunate. Mine's a rock star. Did just great. Loves it. So how do I train them? You know what? You spend some time with them. So we did personally.
I have personal stuff to say about this, and I can't wait to hear your answer.
Oh, okay.
How do you train them?
For me personally, we sat together for a couple weeks in the office and just did stuff together. You know, and she got to know me and how my brain is wired, and I got to know her and how she does stuff. And we came up with some solutions together. Like, here's how I put these in. She's like, well, can you do it like this because it's faster for me? No problem. You know, we worked out the kinks together for just a couple weeks, and that was it. The other thing is, she was really good at going out and finding, not even at the beginning, but I kind of showed her the way with YouTube videos, and she'll very nicely say that. It's very cute. I'm like, you know, instead of asking me, it's probably on YouTube. And it was just a little light bulb switch. She's like, oh yeah. So that was a good training tool for me too. Just reminding her that there's other resources out there that are free to get you what you need. And then you come to me when it's like, okay, this is big, or this is something, or whatever it is.
I don't believe in training.
Oh,
I've said this to our managers, and I continue to say it. If you hire somebody under you that needs to be trained, they're not the right person. Whatever you're hiring for as a manager, and what you need that person to do, they should be exceedingly better at it than you ever hope to be. And they should be coming to you with years and years, as many years as possible, of experience and whatever you're training them to do. IT is always a great thing. So if you're going to get somebody that is a good web designer / programmer, the person that they're going to report to, and certainly in our case, the person that they report to is a very good manager. They're good at managing and keeping people on track and keeping employees happy, and on and on and on. They're not necessarily they shouldn't be good at exactly what that person was hired for. So the training really should be called acclimation. Acclimating.
That's what it is.
It's acclimating. You're great at being a transaction coordinator already. I can see that. You've done 30 plus deals a month for the last 22 years. In Jan's case, I think that's pretty close to it. But you probably haven't used the software that we're using. So here's the deal with our software. Here's kind of what I expect. And I know Jill's style is ridiculously hands-off. You know, in a perfect world, Jill talks to the TC once a week. So that might be new for them, you know. And here's, oh, by the way, here's this thing called Land Academy that we have running over here. You and I are just going to go do real estate deals, but we got this thing over here, and every Thursday we talk to everybody. So please show up for that. And then that's about it.
He's right. I didn't train her anything on how to do a deal. Close a deal, open escrow, close escrow. If anything, here's the best part. You know when you got a good one? When they train other escrow agents how to do their jobs. That has happened. There's times that we've had things where we're dealing with an escrow in 4 states over, and my TC goes, all right, here's how you solve the problem with this fill in the blank. You know, she gets the deals done because she's that good.
Here's how you get hired in one of our companies. You come in, and after a half hour of answering questions and listening, you say some version of this. You know, that's really interesting that you guys do it this way, but I think I might have a better solution, because I did this thing over here a year ago for this company that I worked with, and it worked really, really, really well. And I think that you're trying to accomplish the same thing as that they are. And there's this newer software product that I think can help us get it there. So I'm happy to do it your way, but I think there might be a better, more efficient, newer solution. Hired on the spot.
That's it.
No ego here.
I wish there was
There's
a way.
no managerial. We don't put up with it in any of our companies. There's no egos. We're just trying to get to the finish line.
Exactly. So when you're putting your posting together, you know, you're going to say transaction coordinator, but the very first line needs to say, hey, I'd like you to have 10 plus years of escrow experience, you know, and, you know, let me know what CRMs you're comfortable with, or how you did your 10 plus years, and maybe doing 50 deals a month plus, you know, then you know you got a person that's solved some problems and been through some things. So I am so fortunate. You know, your other thing, who's going to answer the phones? I think because mine, she's just so good. She's good on the phones with everybody. She can talk to sellers. She can talk to buyers. She can talk to, you know, every escrow person. I've even learned from her, like, she takes a step back and asks the escrow agent, do you like text, email, phone calls, instant message? How do you want me to communicate with you when I need to get you for something?
That's perfect. You should learn from the people you hire.
Yeah.
It should never. This gets confusing, especially for, I think, people that are really young, or people who have been trained in a huge company.
Yep.
Geez, I'll throw some names out there. Like Starbucks has an amazing customer service type program and a training program that everybody goes through. I know some of the really big companies like Microsoft and the manufacturing assembly car companies like Toyota and General Motors have acclimation programs and training and what to expect, and certainly healthcare. If you ever had a healthcare job, months and months of training to acclimate into the system and the software and all that. So when you start to bring people in, they're expecting, this is a huge red flag for me. Oh, so when does my training start?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't start.
It's like, let's get to work.
You should be improving all of this.
Yeah.
In about the second hour after you sign out of HR. And so that's very hard for people to swallow. They kind of want to get on the escalator, or like that conveyor thing in the not necessarily going up. Geez, I don't mean going up. I mean flatly just get on that thing at the airport, so you don't have to walk.
So that's really what I meant. The escalator.
It's a pretty serious joke in there.
It's most employees. It's a people mover conveyor belt thing.
Most employees want to get on that conveyor belt so they don't have to walk, don't have to carry any luggage, and just get off of it at 5:05.
Here I am again, saving the day. I love it. All right. Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from one of our weekly Thursday closed member webinar calls.
Counted with 195,000. Collier County, Florida thinks we could sell it for 260. It's 2.73 acres. It's residential next to some really nice houses. I'm hoping for 260. All upland lot, flood zone AH. That's good in this area. Close to new development. I think that Carl and Samantha have done some stuff down that way. Everybody's alive. The couple bought it for 130 in 2020 with the intent to build a home, but looking to sell to gain equity in their business. I like that. No HOA. We've been talking to realtors, very familiar with the area. He thinks it will sell within 60 days at proposed sales price of like 259 to 269.
All right. So these properties are really easy to value. Super, super, super easy to value this.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It's not in the flood zone in Florida, which is quite amazing.
And look at
They
that,
built these
that.
up, Joe.
They did.
They
Look
built
at
them up
all around. That's wild.
So
That's
prepare
super
yourself for
cool.
grading. But the good news is that the adjacent property to the north is worth $650 right now.
Look how nice that is.
You're going to buy this property for $200. If you follow the infill lot rules of 10%, then you should be paying $64 $65,000 for this property, and the person who's going to build a house on it should buy it from you for 100,000.
I think the property's too high.
I
It's too
would
much.
pay $50,000 for this lot.
So they counted at 195. Peter, you were probably right on your original offer.
Jill, you have something inspirational to share this week.
Yeah, I was talking with Christopher, who works with us, who's new with us, and has been helping me answer questions when people call in and they're like, I want to talk about Land Academy. I think this might be for me, kind of thing. And one of the common things that comes up is people, like, they're all excited. They call in, they're like, this is great. Okay, I'm in. I love it. I know this is what I want to do. I've been following you guys for a year. I've saved up this much money. I've done all the things you said. I'm like, all right, well, let's go. We're right here. You did this, and this. You understand it? Yep. You know about this? Yep. I know about that. Okay, so let's go. And they're like, yeah, let's go. And then they don't. And then they don't. And then they don't. They're procrastinating, right?
Can you read the title?
I will get to the title.
Oh, you're going to work it in? Because I was intrigued by this title that you wrote. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll just sit here quietly and listen.
Just please, preferably on your hands. So anyway, this title came from Christopher because he's experiencing it too. And he has done similar, helped answer phone calls and for people in other worlds, other companies, other things, kind of some coaching related, right? And this comes up, and he's like, here I am over here at Land Academy. It still comes up, and it's getting over fear disguised as procrastination. So what I want to talk about for a few minutes is this procrastination, and there's usually a fear. There's something you haven't uncovered that's holding you back. And often I have found there's one fear. There's one common fear that everybody has keeping them from finally jumping in and doing this. And do you know what it is?
Oh, geez. What was the biggest fear to stop somebody from jumping in? Commitment.
Failing.
Oh.
Just failing. Just like, well, what if I screw it up?
I was talking about me.
Oh,
yeah. Fear of commitment.
Yeah, that's that's very true.
I know I'm going to fail at whatever I start. I know about failure.
I'm gonna give you a rub your chest. That's a very real feeling too.
I know I'm going to fail at whatever I start.
Well,
I can get over it.
If you don't commit, that's gonna fail. That's true. Oh, jeez. Yes. Okay. That's what I get for asking you. So, all right. I'm asking you, listener.
Just having my own thoughts. Sorry.
All right. There you go. So, it's usually failure. And you know what? And so, what's the worst thing that can happen? Think about this for a moment. So flippin' what? What if you get in, you do something wrong, you make a mistake, so what? You're not going to do that again. You pick yourself up, you dive right back in, and you move forward. You learn from those mistakes. Number one. Number two, I'm going to tell you, one of the great things about the world that we float around in is we're here to help. And I'm here to help you. And there's so many people in Land Academy. I love these conversations. I pop in and pop out of Discord, which is our online community where everybody, the members, chat and talk. Because I'm like, y'all don't need me. I love it. There's so much helping going on there. So much, hey, I got the money, I'll fund that deal. So much, oh, I've got a photographer over here, or I've got a title agent over here, or here's how you solve this problem. I'm like, you guys, it's like this beautiful little bubble where everybody's helping each other. So that's another nice thing. You have this resource group to even keep you from making mistakes. But don't worry, you know what? You're still going to do it. You're still going to make a mistake. I mean, do I make mistakes still? Oh my gosh, yes. You know, not the stupid ones like I forgot to ask about HOA. I learned that one. You know, or how much is the HOA, the transfer fees? I've even learned that since Land Academy. I forgot to ask that question. I got hit with a couple $1,000 transfer fees. I'm like, well, great. I'll never do that again. So what? You are going to make mistakes. So you have to move past that. Do you have any other things that, other than commitment, that you think, you know, people might, you know, well, it's failure is my biggest one. Why people they're afraid of failing is procrastinating. So, you know what, I have another one. I'm gonna think before I let you answer that. You have one?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So another one
I'll
I think
you when you're ready.
People are afraid of is the time involved, and you're just going to have to get over that one and swallow it, I think, because it's not the money. I think they might sometimes not get over the time, like I'm gonna have to give up some stuff. Yeah, you will, but it's not forever. You know, it's like starting anything. Gosh, when you go to college, what if you want to be a doctor? You can't be a doctor part-time. You're going to be put your head down in it, right? And then you're going to come up for air and probably not have to work as hard as you did in college, but you got there.
I think there's a real huge difference between liking the idea of something and actually doing it or succeeding at it or having what it takes to get through, having what it takes to get to the other side where it's like, wow, this is how I thought this was going to be. I watched some documentary a few years ago about a guy building a tiny house when tiny houses were really a thing. And so she started filming it, and he was all excited about it. He's got the plans. He's got a lot of experience as a carpenter, and the whole thing is totally qualified to do the show and do the construction project done. And so he started it, got all the materials, and began the whole project. And then there's a lot of time lapse in the middle, and he stops right in the middle and says, he looks at the camera and says, they're way over budget, and it's taking like 2 years instead of 3 months. He looks at the camera and says, in every project, there's a beginning, a middle, and the end. And the middle is terrible. The beginning is fun, and the outcome is a blast. But the middle is awful, and it takes longer. It costs more, and it takes longer than you think. And that's always stuck with me, obviously. And I think that's a big issue. I think at some point you get hung up saying this is too hard, or whatever's going to be on the other end of this, the end of it. This isn't worth it. That's why so many people drop out of medical school. It's like, you know what? I can go make some money now and do this.
We're in the middle of this, and it is hard.
Well said. That's a perfect example. I also think, personally, I can tell you.
When is the end?
I can tell you why I start something and don't finish it. It's almost always because there's a component that I can't stand. I loathe it. And so I finished this land thing with Jill because she does the part that I loathe.
All right.
And so you got to sub that stuff out. That's why I've started a lot of several things business-wise, professionally, and stopped because it's like, I got to talk on the phone all day to sell this thing? No way. The greatest thing that ever happened for me was the internet because it stopped me from talking to people. I can get all kinds of things done really effectively, efficiently, communication-wise.
Yeah, thank God for email.
Else. I can communicate to 6,000 people all at once, which I do often. Or I can post something on Facebook or whatever and send some message out about this deal that we did and never have to talk to a soul.
Right.
And so talking to people to me is very inefficient. And so it stopped me. I've always been really jealous of people like Jill who just wake up in the morning and they're like ready to go. Hey, let's try this new thing. I'm going to call this person, and this person. Let's see what they've got. And maybe this person over here's got a new thing, and we'll see how it goes. I'm just not that. I have to, it all has to be in a spreadsheet. I have to know how it's going to end before I start. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Which actually leads me to my topic.
Well, I'm going to finish on this. So getting over fear disguises procrastination. What do? You accept it. You know, the fear is usually something. You have to identify what it is, and then you have to accept it. So you could be afraid of making a mistake. You could be afraid of commitment. You could be afraid of I don't know, doing too well. Maybe like, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, some people, I think that's a real thing. You could be afraid of, I'm going to have to hire. I don't know. There's lots of different things. So you have to figure out what it is and just understand it and accept it and know what's so funny.
You could be afraid of your new career as a Canadian stripper.
That could be.
Which is valid.
And so I'm procrastinating showing up for work. Okay.
This makes complete sense to me.
All right.
Because there's part of that job. There's a lot of parts of that job that I would enjoy, but...
Well, let's end on this. Let's at least do this. Let's say, I'm trying to think of one thing that you procrastinated learning the guitar, even though you forever wanted to do it. What was the fear? Or why were you procrastinating?
Because I didn't think I could do it.
There you go. So that's a perfect one, and I loved that. We could end on that because that was the third thing I wanted to bring up, and I didn't, which is you're afraid you don't have what it takes. You're afraid you're not cut out. You're afraid you're not smart enough. Afraid you can't figure it out. You know what? You just might have to work that hard.
I know I can figure it out.
Work harder. So
the truth is, I know I can figure it out. Yeah. It's just how much effort is it going to take?
There you go. And if you really want it, you'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Hey, Jack, do you have something to share with us today?
Yeah, my little talk here is called deconstructing your way to success. So like I alluded to just a minute ago, if I want to start down the path of doing something, anything, I don't care if it's fixing the sink, taking a 4-month trip with Jill on the RV all over the country, buying and selling a piece of land, or, raising a child. And this is true, I have to sit down and I'm not letting stuff happen to us or happening to me or happening to Jill and I together or our family, our kids. I hate that. I'm not going to let stuff happen. I'm going to put it all together and we're going to go down the path and with a reasonable expectation of variance and adjustment. But I am going to deconstruct the whole thing, the RV trip, or the raising of a child all the way to the point where they're 19 or 20 years old. Spreadsheet it out, put some time frames together, usually associate money with it, and then go to work on the small little parts that it takes to get to that long-term point of success. That's deconstructing your way into success. I'm actually writing a whole thing about it right now because I think that's something I have no idea why. Mm-hmm. Becomes very natural to Jill. And very natural. When I met Jill, she was already all like this. It wasn't something. I didn't sit her down and say, "Hey."
That sounds like she was like already liking this. Like I'm like a scatterbrained crazy person.
I mean, so I didn't sell her anything and say, "Hey, come over to my side. It's better." There's nothing like that happened. Yeah. She just already was, So minus the spreadsheet, but she had her way of. True. Like she said earlier, we had the same goal way the heck out there as far as you can see. It was the same goal, and she did it with little notebooks from CVS.
True.
But I did it in Excel, and the outcome is the same, and it's still the same. So she was without probably calling that deconstructing her way into succeeding at whatever it is. I've got to make 62 sales phone calls to do this, to get to this point, to make this amount of money so I can buy a new watch. In Jill's case, that was usually her goal. Still is, actually.
That's hilarious.
The mortgage, forget it. Jack will pay.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Seriously.
That's awesome. That's funny.
But I really do think that being conscious of what your goals are, and writing it down, whatever makes sense to you, writing it down and understanding it and setting tiny little goals up is essential. I don't know any other way.
In Land Academy, that's called the equity planner.
Yes.
If you're in Land Academy, you know what I'm talking about. A couple years ago, he had this for us, and was it the 24-month millionaire?
Yeah, we called it that originally.
And then it became the equity planner. And all it is a spreadsheet showing that, where do you want to be? You can fill in at the end of the spreadsheet, I want in 24 months or 12 months, I want X amount of money in the bank. All right, put that in there. And then a lot of it, he calculated it in there too. You put in how many deals you want to do, how hard you want to work. And then it lets you know you got to send out this much mail. You got to plan for this. You got to do this many deals, and they need to be, this you can adjust to based on how many deals you want to do. Then you're like, okay, then I'll do less deals, but they need to yield more profit. no brainer. And then this is everything that Jack's saying right now. When you look at it like, then you're like, oh, well, when you look at it like that, now I only got to do 2 deals a month, and they have to each make at least 50 grand. Well, hello, I can do 2 deals a month. I could do that standing on my head. I'm going to try for 3 deals a month, and then I know if I screw up, I know I'm going to get my 2 deals a month kind of thing. There you go.
I mean, the personal selfish truth about why I do this is because it takes the stress out of it for me.
True.
So now it's like, well, I'm not a millionaire yet. You can sit around after 3 years of trying to do something and say, this doesn't work. Well, it didn't work because you didn't, from day one, deconstruct the whole thing, take it all apart, and then give yourself one tiny little goal to do this week or the next 3 days. And now you're working 2 hours a day on something, and you will have more money than you ever would have thought you would have had within that time frame, and you only had to do 2 hours a day or whatever that ends up being for you, however you deconstruct it.
It's so good. It's so much easier
born
to
out
swallow.
Of laziness. All this stuff is born out of laziness.
Well, I'm going to argue it makes you a happier person too, because you often come up and go, I'm done on everything else to do today. You could work ahead, burn yourself out even too.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I know I'm on exactly the right trajectory. I got everything accomplished. It's going exactly as planned, and I'm happy.
And I'm not. When I was younger, I would work way ahead, but not anymore. You're right.
Exactly.
I don't want the stress.
I agree. Hey, don't forget, you can reach us for questions and help simply by texting 480-530-7383.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.